Cheshire Cat, where do I go from here, left or right? Cheshire Cat asks, where do you want to go? And Alice says, I don't know, I don't care where I'm going. Then Cheshire Cat said, if you don't know where you're going, then any road will take you there. And it doesn't matter. So the first managerial expertise and experience that you gain through an MBA or a good program where you're studying right now, including some of your esteemed teachers who will teach you, is to tell you to look at the target. As a manager, as a leader, your job is problem solving and managing. But your problem solving and managing happens only when you know what you're targeting. Are you targeting excellence? Are you targeting outcomes? Or are you targeting resolutions? So depending on your choices, the way that you take your tools and resources and how you work with them completely changes, and it impacts the way that you live your managerial life. Today, I'm going to use the spectacles of managerial spectacles today to look at our topic of adaptability. I have a set of slides with me, which I hope I will be able to use as a crutch to help you look at some of the points. But it is going to be some of the life experiences that I had through the time that I would like to rely on most of the time. I hope that is okay. Please do make your questions, and in between, if you like to put the questions on the chat box, you can put it there. And at the end, when I finish, I'm sure I'll get time to complete that. So with your permission, if I could start the presentation, let me put up the screen right up. So I hope you can see the screen.
Yes.
Can you just give me a thumbs up? Yeah, you can see that. The word that you see on that screen, oh, it's so cliched right now. The new normal. If I hear one more time the word new normal, I'm going to push that guy down. Everyone seems to be saying this word. What is this new normal? Things have changed. In fact, the last 1 year, the way that the business and the world has changed is much more cataclysmic than possibly the last 5 decades. I mean, you would understand, it is not just because of COVID, but because this year has been the cynosure of so many, it's been the melting pot of so many different reasons. The world Arab oil crisis, the fracking problems in US, the falling dollar rates, the problem of trade deficits, economic and governmental control becoming a challenge. You know, your entire pestle that you learn in MBA, that is the most important chapter today. When we learned our MBA and stuff like that, we learned it as one of those things and said, that's okay, there are bigger things to learn. Today, go back to your basics. Your entire environmental scanning that you do would help you understand where we are right now. And hence, the new normal that is going to come out is going to be successful only for those people who are adaptable. Remember what Charles Darwin said? I don't like the guy much, but Charles Darwin said that it is not the strongest of the species that survives nor the most intelligent, but it is the one that is the most adaptable to change. So adaptability today is a core word, not just in terms of coping up. See, I can tell there is no water today in the tap, so I can adapt by not having much water, or I could have other things. I could go out and buy a cold drink or some lassi or some lime juice or something. So I can cope with it. Coping is short term. What people are doing now with COVID are coping. As a consultant, some of the companies that we consult with in India and South Asia are some of the biggest brands, possibly the top 10, 15 Fortune 500 companies, big companies, huge companies that don't know even where all their company offices exist, such big companies. When we work with some of them, what they say is that, you know what, we want to take changes, but we actually don't know where. We don't know if I move this, where does it move? How many of you have seen the movie, the Kung Fu Panda? I'm sure most of you have seen that movie. In Kung Fu Panda, in the first one, there is this wushu finger lock that this guy, the giant panda, the guy, the funny guy uses. You don't know where you touch and where the impact is going to be. That is where the world is now. So what you need is not coping up. Working from home is coping. Using Zoom and other platforms to relate to each other is coping. Using Slack and Trello to collaborate is coping. What is adaptability? Adaptability is the absolute unfolding, the complete reimagination of what this world is going to be. And you, my dear friends, in a couple of years, when you step out into a job and when you do your internships and others in the next 1 year, you are in the right place where you're going to see the biggest change happening, the anvil of change, the complete workshop of change is going to happen in the next couple of years. I do not know how governmental and other policies and priorities are going to pan out. But one thing is for sure, the world is ready for a bigger change. And that change is going to be all dependent on what the mid leadership does. The world is not a pyramid anymore. We are a diamond. We are seen more at the middle part. The bottom of the pyramid is sort of like handled right now. The top of the pyramid is handling itself. It is the middle of the pyramid, which is now bulging, which has now become like a diamond shape, where the maximum effort is. So the middle class, the middle managers, the middle level, all that is where the power is going to be. So laying that foundation, I want to go ahead and say, keep that in mind when you look at adaptability and be ready to change in this world where there is risk, intensity, instability, artificial intelligence, changing way things are happening, price market of shares, companies going up and down, the best companies being bought over by smaller companies, organizations eating each other, merging each other, brands not becoming brands anymore, generations. There are multiple generations, X, Y, Z, whatever, millennials. Today there's a post-millennials. I normally call them X, Y, and Y not. The why not generation. Why can't I do it? There is a new generation right up there asking even further questions. What my children would understand in change is very different from what you and I understand. COVID, epidemic, making changes. All these changes ask you to use your imagination. Remember what Einstein said, the sign of true intelligence is not wisdom or knowledge, but it is imagination. The way of looking and reimagining, repowering, repurposing, reshaping, and recoursing the way of doing things. So here is the first thing that you need to have as a standard basic requirement. I don't have to say this, but accountability. That's why I'm not putting this as step one. I'm putting it as basic. You can see that the word accountability on the screen is grayish. It is put up there to say it is now one with the system. You cannot have a world which is of today. Today's world is not an accountable world. I can give a contract to build the road, but I have no control on what is happening. That guy may do it, may not do it. I don't know. Now, accountability, people are going to be held accountable much more now, more than anything else. We live in a post-truth world, the Orwellian world, so to say. We live in a world where accountability is now going to be asked much more. There's going to be a greater sense of accountability. We are going to read history in 20 years from now that the 2000s, the late 1990s, early 2000s was a year of free accountability. And we'll be surprised at how did we live that time. Once you carry your own water, you will learn the value of every drop. I remember my dad, we used to live in a place in Trivandrum, in a college where our house was on the top of a hill and we were on the second floor, the first floor. And getting water to our house was not very easy because, Trivandrum had water problems right from, maybe Arpit would know that much more than anyone else, had water problems much more than anything else. And the first thing I remember of my dad is early morning when I wake up, sometimes I'll hear the sound of water and I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. What I see him is in the kitchen. He's sitting on a stool with a pipe in his hand, the other end connected to the tap. And there is a big water drum that is filling and he's sleeping. That's what I remember him. And this is during my school days. In college days, I was the guy sitting there. My mom used to wake me up and put me there and say, George, you sleep, but hold this tube while you sleep. When we understood the value of that water, we wouldn't waste that water anymore. We're going to come to a time when we're going to carry your own water. when we are going to understand that the problem of what we have really suffered. And at that point of time, COVID is a great example. COVID is a great example of how unprepared we were, but no one seems to care even today. Why? We can manage. The reason why managers are expected to perform is because they know that results will come. Company knows that managers will do the results. The world knows that doctors will take care of COVID. So there is no worry. The moment worry comes, the moment concern comes for existence, that is when you will rise above mediocrity. Managers of tomorrow. I will not call you MDs of tomorrow, CHROs of tomorrow, CXOs of tomorrow. If there is one thing that management colleges, I know some professors are listening to me, please forgive me for what I'm saying. If there is one mistake that a lot of colleges do today is to address the MBA students as the MDs of tomorrow, the CXOs of tomorrow. Come on, just call them the managers of tomorrow. Because what happens is that that very notion of setting up higher expectations makes people lower their ability to do work at other areas. I will not do it because I'm CXO of tomorrow. It prevents you from dirtying your hands. It prevents you from sticking your hand into the unknown glue of your company. So managers of tomorrow transcend above mediocrity. Mediocrity is not average. Mediocrity is the sense that this is what I can do, but I'm doing below it. You might be doing an excellent, for example, Usain Bolt. Let us say he runs 1 second lesser than his average speed. It might be much better than any one of us can run. But still for him, that is a mediocre performance. So mediocrity is not average. Mediocrity is what you do below your best potential. So I want you, each one of you, to look at and say, what can I do to transcend mediocrity and thus to pursue excellence? Now, these two are on either sides of a seesaw. You cannot have excellence without transcending mediocrity. And if you transcend mediocrity, you have no option but to achieve excellence. There it is. How nice it is. So if you want to pursue excellence, do not be just in the reading of the latest book and people saying that I will read Dave Donocci and I'll read Josh Koff and I'll read this and that. All are good unless and until you transcend mediocrity. Excellence is not going to be a factor that needs to be considered at all. So that experience, remember, that will never go for waste. Each one of you sitting here, I understand, have some work experience or something or the other, or you must have worked somewhere or you have some capability. Remember the story of ICICI Bank when Mr. Kamath decided that we'll bring a lot of young people and asked a lot of people to go on VRS and brought in a lot of young MBA finance and a lot of people. 2 years later, he said, oh, call the other guys back. These guys are great. The new guys are great. They're really good, but they're unable to connect with certain things because we can't expect them to do it at the age of 26, 27. So let us give them enough time and bring back the other guys. And you know the story of ICICI, what happened after that. What a wonderful learning, readiness. Because if you do not do it, you will burn out, you'll have stress, you have loss of confidence. I'm an executive coach. On the right side of where I sit, and this is my office where I'm sitting, I've got a couch where I normally meet my coaches. And this is a place where I have so many breakdowns happen. People 27 years of age have almost 5 crores of investment from some angel investor in Singapore or Dubai, have a lot of money. They're ready to do a lot of things, but they're burnt out. Why? I asked them the 2 questions. What is your performance and are you working below your radar? Are you mediocre? Second, are you getting excellence out of it? If not, you're targeting the wrong things. So keep those things in mind, because if you do not do that, the first signal that you will do is the stoppage of discretionary effort. If any one of you believe that I can do better, but I don't want to do it now. I know I can wake up in the morning and do it, but I don't want to do it now. That discretionary effort, if it stops, it means that's the first sign of a burnout, stress, or loss of confidence. So get back and say, no, there is something wrong I need to correct. And you guys have the opportunity to make that corrections. Because if you do not do it, what people do, this is a coping mechanism. What do? We reduce our targets. We say, we don't want to do that. I don't want to be first anymore. When you got your admission to NIT, I'm sure a lot of you said in your heart of hearts, I'm going to be first in the class. I'm going to show the world what I can do. First day you meet the other guys in the class, you say, I'm going to be the top 10 in the class. And I'm going to show my class what I can do. After 3 weeks, it's like, I want to somehow finish this course and get a job and be first in the company where I'm going to work. Did you see what has happened? You have reduced your expectations because you want to reduce your disappointment. That's a very human nature. So if you reduce your expectations, it means that you need to go back and rework with yourself of adapting to changes, because these changes around you make who you are. Marcus Aurelius, I'm sure a lot of you have heard of him. If not, read that book, Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. I would really, really recommend you to do it. Meditations of the Philosopher King by Marcus Aurelius. He says, as a leader, your job is to stand straight, not to be held straight. Your job as a leader is to stand straight in spite of tossing tempests around you. In case of troubles around you, still you stand straight. You are not held straight. You don't have to depend on someone to hold you straight. Stand straight. And we say that in terms of our faith also. When people are in faith, you stand straight in your faith. You don't have to be held straight. If there is a good temple or a church to go, I will then continue my faith. You don't need it. Come on. That's because you're being held straight. Stand straight as a manager, and that makes a big difference. And be the best in what you do. I want to tell you a very quick story and then move on to the last part of what I want to do. There is a story of two farmers who were working in the field. One was digging in the ground, and he will move forward and make the next hole, and he keeps on digging. And there is the guy behind him pouring water in the hole, covering the hole, and going to the next hole, covering it, pouring water. So one traveler, passerby, he said, what are you doing? You guys seem to be wasting your time. You are digging the hole, the other guy is covering the hole. In the hot sun, the water evaporates. It looks like the same as in the morning. So the first farmer said, no, you don't understand. I am working for my master. My master is a very nice master. He takes care of our lives. He gives us sustenance. He gives us money. And so we are very indebted to him. I am doing my job. What is my job? Dig the hole. What is the guy behind me's job? To cover it and pour water. So passerby said, what does that mean? No result. The farmer said, I now understand why you are confused. We are actually a team of 3 people. My job is to dig. There is a second guy who's supposed to put the seed inside. He is absent today. But I don't care. I don't care. What is my job? My job is to dig. I will do my job because my master is nice. Some of us work like that in organizations. I don't care what others do, but I'll do my job. I don't know if they are successful, but my part of my KPIs, KRAs, I'll do it. And that, my dear friends, is not adaptability because you are not helping people do it. The alternate stories of a mason. The same passerby, he walks by and he sees that in the town, one person is singing a song and putting up a wall, a mason, a mason. And the passerby asks, what are you doing? And this guy says, I'm building a library. So this guy said, it doesn't look like a library, it looks like a wall. He said, yeah, this is a wall of a building that later become a library where so many people will come and learn. I'm so happy I can contribute to it. Look at the difference between the sense of accountability between the first and the second person. The first person was accountable to the task. The second person was accountable to the outcome. My dear friends, where do you want to be? Do you want to be accountable to the task? Or do you want to be accountable to the outcome? Do you just want gratitude and commitment like the farmer? Or do you see potential in what you are contributing? Do you see excellence in what you're doing? And that, my dear friends, makes a big difference in the way you intentionally own excellence. So I want to go straight ahead. I've already spoken to you about coping and adapting. I'm not going to go into that. Let me directly get into one core skill. I'm going to just say about one core skill you require. One core skill. After that, I'll tell you some stories. One core skill that you have that you require is collaboration. And collaboration is not asking others to work with you or you asking to work with them. Collaboration is a seamless improvement of average standards of the team by extending your help, exchanging help, giving credit to them, and taking collective ownership. That is collaboration. So sense of collaboration, build that up. I'm not going to go there, but I thought I'll just bring it up. So here are 4 managerial skills that I want to keep in mind, 4 of them. One of these I also said to the Project Management Institute of India when I did the speech. One part of it I did, but of course for you, the remaining 3 of them are different. You know the story of Nokia, right? At one point of time, I don't know how many of you have used a Nokia phone. Probably you must have used it for when you were a child to play the snake game. We used to really love that game at that time. Nokia was considered to be the best. Almost 78% of the market across the world at one point of time was Nokia, followed very closely by Ericsson and Sony and Alcatel. So that was the world at one point of time. At any given point, on an average, they were more than 55% market shareholders. What happened to Nokia after that? They went very, very down, absolutely down. They had a Symbian system considered better than Android at that point of time. Ubuntu hadn't come up till Linux and others hadn't come up till the time. They were really, really good up there. But when they came out with the first touchscreen phone, the head of Nokia, he said, you know what, let's not do it, because if we do it, we'll kill all the other models that we have. So let's wait for some time. And that's when Apple comes. In fact, Samsung came earlier, and after that came some other companies, and then came Apple. And then we know the story of how the world has gone. Today, we don't have a phone with buttons on it. Even if we have, it is meant for elderly people and people with disabilities. Aha. Nokia, at one point of time, the best, they forgot to read and act on signals. So as a manager, the first key skill is to keep scanning the market and the ability to read and act on skills. Understand that your current success might be preventing you from looking forward. Keep an eye on industry integrations. What did Android do? Android brought all these companies together. In fact, it was not even the purpose of life. The purpose of life was only to provide support to one company. Today, across the world, we divide phones as Android and iOS. We don't even consider Symbian anymore. It's Android or iOS, integrated. A very simple example of that would be, I don't know if I can use the simple USB drive and stuff that you have. At one point of time, connectors, each company had a different connector. They came together and said, okay, come on, let's make it universal. So now the universal serial bus is common to all. You take any system, you've got the same thing. There was a time when earphone and microphone of your speaker went into 2 different buckets into the system. One pink color or peach color socket and one green color socket. Where did the color coding come from? Where did that come from? All came from industry integrations. So keep your eye on industry integrations, what is happening in the industry. Learn new technology, understand and build capability in advance. I'm not saying this because I'm a learning and development company holder. In fact, I run 3 companies. One of them is into learning and development. Second one is into organizational design called Tandem Hype Global. And the third company I run is a company called Enterprise. So we help small enterprises build up and establish themselves. All these 3 companies that we have is meant for one purpose, building capability in advance. You need a capability, we'll give it to you in advance. I'm not selling my company. That's not the idea here. The idea is to say, at the moment of difficulty, what do most companies do? They cut out on expenses on training. They cut out on expenses on employee engagement. They cut out expenses on tea and coffee and other things, which actually does not make a big impact on the organization. Rather, the cutting of it makes a very negative impact on the organization because you are making people stay back and not progress with the latest capabilities in advance. Thankfully, today companies have understood that. Yeah? Study demographics, play to your market, build collaborations. I've told all that. So what's the first skill? The ability to read and act on signals. One idea came into our mind. We directly went to the embroidery institutes around Delhi. And we asked them, do you have people who would be willing to work with us? Because we understood This was a job of hand-eye coordination, because this is hand-eye coordination for a long time. And which job has maximum hand-eye coordination? Embroidery, stitching. We said, come on, let us try. We brought some ladies on an experimental basis. We made them start working. And voila, we never had an attrition from that department. Not only did we not have attrition in that department, the men of the other departments were now very happy that women had come there. It is like in an engineering college, in the mechanics group, when 5-6 girls come, suddenly all people are very interested who's coming there, right? Because normally mechanics is a very dry subject, people say, right? A lot of stories are built around it. I'm just joking for the sake of understanding. Now, we understood that people, the boys there, were now behaving well. Bad words they were not using. No more spitting on the ground. And this happened in a place called Manesar in Gurgaon. People were trying to help, volunteering. And they said, aha, how nice. We did not even know that was happening. We were just trying to experiment. But that experiment proved very well. Out of that team, we had 2 people who grew up to the level of shift managers, handling bigger technical work. What does that speak about? For us, it was just by luck that we had the idea. But that ability to experiment, I felt, was good. We understood the strength that was involved. We were flexible and open there, and we were ready to break existing models to reinvent approaches. And we trusted the security guard with his idea. We unlocked the greatest resource of our own people. And that, my dear friends, made a big difference. So that is step number 2. As a manager, your key skill is the ability to experiment. Third key skill, you'll be wondering why I have that achar right now there on the plate. The ability to connect with people. You're going to laugh if I'm going to tell this story. We had a manufacturing plant in Chennai. And in that place, in Chennai, there is a general expectation that after every meal, there is some curd rice that people eat. It is a standard expectation. So the people used to bring their own food, but we used to give them curd rice. And that is when we realized that while we were trying to improve their quality on other parameters, what really mattered to them were a few things that were close to their heart. Very surreptitiously, we brought the mango achar back. The urgai, it came back. You'll be surprised. 2 weeks later, conversations are on other parameters. They themselves pulled off the strike and they said, I think you're doing a better job, and sorry for us going on a strike. We never had a strike. That happened in 2007, 2006, 2007. This is 2020, 13 years. They've not had a single strike after that. Nothing to do with urgai. But there is a requirement sometimes to connect with people. Empathy, respectfulness, engagement. Build your relational networks with people. When you work, you're going to work with people of different capabilities and knowledge levels. Understand that you are risking partnership with them because you might have to be vulnerable when you talk to them. That's all part of your growth. Have you seen the story and the picture of Ratan Tata kneeling down with his group of interns in one of the group photos when he could have been sitting and standing and others kneeling down? People say, wow. For Ratan Tata, I don't think he has thought through as a strategy. It comes naturally to him. But that's not the case with a lot of other people. We have political leaders who would not love to be touched. They're supposed to be servants of ours, right? Our world has gone a completely flipped, different way. We live in a world, we are educated, but we are idiotic in some of our decisions. That includes the choices we do for our life, smoking, over drinking, or rash driving, all idiotic decisions. Similar one is electing wrong leaders across the world. I don't have any political agenda here to say, but across the world. And we forget that lack of accountability is leading our nation and other nations into bigger mess than it could ever be. The problem of the matter is we get swayed by what is more attracting to us, religion, faith, karma, dharma, all those, rather than what is truth and what is real and what is genuine. As managers, you are called to build that connect with people. Value the local insights. Any non-core activity you do, outsource it, give it to someone else. Don't waste your time on it. Focus on what is important. And when your team is failing, be tolerant and focus on building the team value. So that was the third one. So if you look at the three things that you said, the first thing we said is that your key skill required is the ability to read and act on signals. The second skill that is required is to experiment. Third is to connect with people. And the last one is the ability to see through ambiguity. Tolerate ambiguity. We were trying to recruit people into our retail shops, and the retail shops were called Easy Day. And we started in Punjab, and what you see, the pictures there are of Jalandhar, Sector 3. So we were trying to pick up people, and in retail, the biggest problem is people join, they leave the next day. They say, this is not what I want to do. I don't want to carry onions and potatoes while I can go and do something else. I'd rather sit home idle rather than work here. So we do not know how to handle, we do not know how to make this work, because attrition means huge problem in our stores, right? So we came up with an idea. We made something called the Bharati Academy of Retail, or BAR. And what you see there on the screen on the left side is a small class where we called a lot of people who wanted to join with us. We asked them to come there and attend our 3-day class of 2 hours each. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we did the class. Then we did the class on Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And then in between these days, we would interview them and select the people. Now here is how the class went. Can you see this, the wall of the room? The wall of the room has the training content stuck on the wall. So day one, they sit like this, and they are sitting, and they feel they are sitting inside a storeroom. So they're getting used to the feeling of a storeroom. Day one, they learn from wall 1. Day 2, they turn to the other side. They learn from wall 2. Day 3, they turn to the other side and learn, wall 4. And the last on the day 4 is the questions and others that come. By the time they go to the second and third day, they understand what the job is. And they don't turn up if they don't want on day 3. So we pre-filtered those people who did not want to join, and we selected people, only those people who were aware of the job, who knew the job. And once they came in, they got another training. Industry attrition was 47%. Our attrition was 6%. 47 and 6. 3 years we got MHROD, Ministry of Human Resource. The Kapil Sibal was the minister there. 3 years consecutively, we got the award for the most innovative training design for retail. I'm not saying for the award, but a simple idea to see through the confusion. What is the confusion? People are leaving. What do we do? What do we do? All we needed was a 7,000 rupees square feet rented place where we got this training done. We just had to install a bathroom and some water facility, etc. But the skill that I'm trying to say is, when there is ambiguity, push through and try to identify what is critical. Delegate responsibility. Make them take decisions. In fact, each one of them, we told them, you go and bring someone. We told them to bring the people that they love to work along with. They brought their father, mother, uncle. We said, age, no bar to working with us unless you are physically fit till the age of 60, we are fine. So we had a rule, be the society that you serve. In our stores, we had people who were 55 years of age, mothers who were 40 years of age. They knew the difference between aral dal, tuvar dal, and other dals. You go to a young guy in a store today and ask them, which is the 3 dal which will cook the best? They'll say, try this. Because they don't cook. So we have the best guys working there for the best. So build, see through the capacity, understand ambiguity. So these 4 skills, my dear friends, are going to make a big difference. Key skill 1, ability to read and act on signals, ability to experiment, ability to connect with people, ability to act through ambiguity. None of this is scientific. Very simple, to the point. None of them would come in McKinsey or in any of the big articles. This comes through experience that your people around you have already made and done on your behalf. So make that difference. And I want to close here by saying a very, very quick, let me just take you through the last part of it that I wanted to say. I'm going to leave this with your call to ask. All you have to do, my dear friends, listen to the next 2 minutes that I'm going to say. Be an original in all that you do. Do not try to copy what others do. A lot of MBA students fail because they try to copy the best in the internet. They try to see, they search on Google, they search on their other pages and find what is the most interesting data, copy, paste, and they think that they can make themselves reticent to what they're doing. Don't do that. Be an original. Make simple plans. Be true to who you are and have a better idea of, if you have a better idea, please try it out, not a problem. Sorry, let me just, the phone was ringing. Yeah, be well informed in all that you do. Copy paste, the problem is we are well copied but not well informed. Yeah, unlock your potential. Second, exhibit visible energy in all that you do. I call this bright eyes, shiny teeth, BEST. When I used to select for my people and in my team, people knew that when I select anyone, I just look for a few competencies, but the final decision maker is, does this person have bright eyes, shiny teeth? Shiny teeth in terms of, is a person willing to talk, interact, is a person taking care of himself, and is a person showing visible energy. Very important that you energize the space and show that visual vividness of the future. Third, do a full court press for execution. People who play basketball here would know that when you do a full court press, the whole team is on for the same purpose, right up there. Particularly on the last minute, you'll see the Lakers do a full court press and say the Chicago Bulls, a full court press, they say an FCP, and all of them run to the other side. When you do your stuff in execution, don't do it half-heartedly. Please do it great, because your strategy is good, but unless you execute it well, it is not a game changer. Seek help if you want to. Be a lifelong learner. I don't have to say this more. I've already said that. And don't wait for a perfect moment to get things done. Take the moment and make it perfect. That's your job. Don't wait for the right resources to come and seize the opportunity. That's what they say, carpe diem, seize the opportunity. Make your signature, make your DNA felt, because imagination, as Einstein said earlier, is much more than information. Maintain work-life balance. Dear friends, young people as you are right now, very career-oriented, ambitious. Biggest reason why you might ignore certain things at life that is as important as work. Do not compromise life for work, because at the age of 30, 40, you will then realize it will be too late for it. Yeah, you exist to live. Work is the reason for living. Don't live because work is so big and you're only living to ensure that work is happening. Don't do that. Life is more important, and know where the results of your life, the choices of your life, where it goes, that is more important than anything else. And last, don't be afraid to give up the good for the great. I'm sure Jim Collins is going to be very upset with me when I say it. He says good to great. I know, but I say good to great sometimes comes up with a lot of collateral damage. Sometimes you have to leave up the good and say, I want to do better. Sometimes leave the great, just remain good, because that might be giving you your work-life balance. And dear friends, ensure that in all that you do, it is your story. Go ahead and script your success in what you do. Managers of tomorrow, remember the key goals. Your life is there to ensure that you contribute and leave a signature in those things around you. Your life is not to achieve something, but to fulfill a purpose for which you are called for. Fulfill that purpose. Fulfillment bigger than achievement. That is what you should have when you pursue your life. I wish you the very, very best in all that you do. Your MEX talks, your continuous series of learning, your next 1.5, 2 years of studies. I pray that you do a wonderful job and you become great leaders that the world would thank for making this world a better place. Thank you so much, and God bless.
Well, as the students are in fact hesitant to start the questions, maybe I will.
Sure.
So that was a fantastic speech. I mean, in fact, it was very mesmerizing that, and you have actually given practical tips. Rather than just the theory knowledge, which we are feeding them a lot more.
The balance of that works.
True, absolutely. One thing I observed is, in organizations, there are a lot of problems, as you suggested, And many a times they are mostly plugging in the addressing the symptoms rather than identifying the root cause of the problem. So could you suggest something, or could you, from any experience or something, could you quote something that how do students or how do practicing managers, new managers, try to get into the root of the problem rather than just the symptom?
Yeah, I think it's you have touched upon something that is universal, that is the biggest challenge today that plagues organizations. We always plug the symptoms rather than go to the root cause. Possibly you have to do both. So the first thing that I normally say is sometimes the symptom is equally important. For example, if I'm bleeding from my nose, it is important that I also stop the bleeding, but at the same time look at where it is coming from. I cannot ignore the bleeding and say, let him bleed, let us do a test, right? We'll have to do balance both. So the first thing that I normally tell is handle the symptom immediately because it is urgent and important. But immediately your question to any problem that you have is, where did it come from? Did it come from a systemic problem or did it come from a wrong usage problem? Sometimes the system is wrong. Sometimes I use the system wrongly. If I have an accident with a bike, it is not because the bike is bad, but because I played with it in a different way. So I would suggest each of your managers, when you come across a problem, immediately stop the immediate symptom, what is happening, get someone to work on it, but take help and immediately ask yourself that question, where did that problem come from? And it should be natural to you. Consciously you have to pursue it till you make it natural. Then every time I see a problem, I'll go back and look at the root cause. And sometimes the root cause will correct itself. So don't worry about it. Like if it is raining, root cause of why you are wet is because it is raining. We can't do anything about it except for an umbrella or stand somewhere. That is handling the symptom. But you know the root cause will stop in some time. But when you know the root cause is a problem, for example, there is a finance problem in the company because of which you are finding people not getting their salary on time. So you ensure that their salary at least is given half of it this month. Then you go back and find where is the problem. Then you understand there's a cash flow problem. There is a cash liquidity problem somewhere. And then you address it. And as managers, first-time managers, please take help in looking at different perspectives of a problem before you start attacking the root cause. Because you might be identifying something as a problem, but an experienced person in another company might look at the problem from a different perspective. So check with others. This is what I'm planning. Do you think it is right? And they will say, you know what, look at this angle also. So my suggestion to you would be handle the symptom, address the root problem. And before you address the root problem, check with someone on a different perspective before you handle it. And it might be the way of doing it. There is no 1, 2, 3 step for it, except for making it an intentional pursuit of wanting to learn how to handle the problem. You have to consciously apply yourself to do that. Some managers, what they do is they keep a diary at the end of the day. Before they leave for home, they make a note of the decisions taken and say, was it a symptom or a root cause, and what they need to find. They make a note of it and check the next day. So practices like that will help you do that as new managers.
Thank you, sir.
So
There are a lot of other ways, but this is one thing that comes in my mind.
So we have a question in the chat section.
From
From
what
Noel.
are the new problems that the entrepreneurs are more likely to face in the post-COVID era? Did you mean more like a startup entrepreneur, or did you mean an established entrepreneur? Noel?
So startup as well as established.
Yeah, they are very different. They are very different, Noel. I'm sure Noel is asking on behalf of the whole team. So I'm addressing everyone. One of the biggest problems that new entrepreneurs face is that they focus a lot on the idea and not on the scalability, sustainability, and the digital aspect of it. Today, if there are 3 parameters you need to keep in mind as an entrepreneur, it is scalability, sustainability, and digitization. When I say scalability, you know the idea is good. For example, selling tapioca chips to all Malayalis across the world with a traditional touch to it. I'm sure it's a great idea. But is it scalable? Can you sell to all the Malayalis across all the countries? Do you have the capacity to send it to other places? Look at the idea is good, but see if it is scalable. Second, look at whether it's sustainable. I can do it for 1 year, 1 month, but what about the months that tapioca is not available? What do you do? How do you maintain the taste? FSSAI guidelines say that if the quality ingredient changes. So that part of sustainability you have to see. And the third is digitization. Can I ensure that in today's world, I don't have to focus a lot on the manual, my presence doing it, but can I automate the system after some time that it runs by itself? If these three are taken care of, you are in good place. But that is only when your cash flow system is also in place. Remember, many entrepreneurs don't think about cash flow. They invest because there's money coming from somewhere, and then they don't know where the returns are going to come in 5 years' time. 14 out of 20, all were good, all were great ones, but they couldn't handle it because they forgot the cash flow. Never forget the cash flow. Entrepreneurs at the same time who are existing, they have got other pockets from there they can put here and there. So they manage it. So even if a new idea comes, they can absorb it. Might not be the case in other places. So keep that in mind while you do. Always have a business strategy, finance strategy person different from your CFO. You hear what I said, right? CFO handles your money. Don't make the money handler the strategist. Give them responsibility, but separate them. Then you will see that both of them challenge each other and keep the cash flow right. So that would be a quick thing. It is not only in post-COVID, it is in any other scenario. Post-COVID, you will find a lot of companies bubbling up, mushrooming up. You have to show very good differentiation to be in the market. Either you differentiate, so it's on these three things they can differentiate: scalability, sustainability, growth. That's what my opinion is, Noel.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, sir.
Vishnu, you had a point. Vishnu Priya had a point.
Excuse me.
You were asking something.
No, sir.
Oh, I thought you were saying something. I thought your mic was on. Yeah. Yes. Next.
Hi, sir. Yeah.
Amjad.
Hello, sir. I'm Amjad. That was a wonderful session that we had, and the enthusiasm was great, sir, I should say.
Thank you.
And actually, the one thing that I take away from this session was the genuinity that we should have, and the true to be ourselves thing that we should maintain within our lifestyle in a business environment. So to be personally genuine is a easy thing. If we think we have to be genuine, we can do that. We have limitations, but we can do that. But within a group, if you are a person who has to handle a group of people, and we want the genuinity within the group, if you are in my position, what should be the thing you are doing to maintain the genuinity that you have within the group of people?
Interesting. Of all the questions I've heard in the past many years, this question has never come. So Amjad, thank you so much. It is a wonderful question. The first thing that comes in my mind is, unless and until there is trust built, genuinity has no value. I can be as genuine as possible, but if I don't trust that person, I will not be receptive to that genuinity. Let us say, if you don't like an actor, and how much ever good acting he does, you will not accept it because you don't like him. Why? Trust is not built. So genuinity has no relevance without trust, and trust does not come without history. So over a period of time, when you deal with people, when you are vulnerable, when you are dealing with multiple situations, over time you build trust, and that trust leads to your genuinity. Your credibility might be there because you are an MBA and you are capable, but your genuinity they will appreciate only when they see you in tough and good situations, you are behaving the same way. So when you do that, if there is something conscious that you have to do, one, it is to continue interacting with people even when there is no transaction between you, so that you can build the genuinity, the trust, and over a period of time, that trust will extend to such an extent that whatever you do, they'll be receptive to it. They'll accept what you are doing. At least they'll question you, heart to heart, brother to brother, sister to sister, brother to sister. That genuinity will come in. But one incident of failure is enough for our trust to be broken. So you have to maintain and be conscious to maintain the trust throughout. It is like saying, you say happy birthday to someone on LinkedIn, and after that you say, can you send me the phone number of our teacher who taught us last year? So the happy birthday was not the reason for reaching out. It was the purpose was something else. And the person says, this guy is not genuine. So consciously you have to be yourself. See, if you are not a genuine person, and to try to be genuine, it's not easy. You have to really struggle. There, it is not about the acting. It is about changing your personality that is important. Genuinity is the openness to be vulnerable and strict and disciplined at the same time. If you can do that, great. That is what I'll suggest. Build the trust. There is an article called The Speed of Swift Trust. You might want to read that. There's a book by the name Speed of Trust that speaks about your topic, what you said. I think it is written by Stephen Covey. Speed of Trust. You might want to read that book. That's a good book. Speed of Trust. I think I have the book somewhere here. I forgot the author. Yeah, Speed of Trust.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hi, sir. I'm Meghna Baginath. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are. You are.
Nice to meet you, sir. And first of all, fantastic session, sir. Thank you so much. Sir, I have my question. Sorry.
I can hear you. Yeah.
So my question is this, sir. A manager will be having multiple units, multiple teams working under him and reporting to him. So there are times when all these teams have to reach a certain deadline at the same time. Like they are all contributing around the product. So, sir, there's suppose in the situation that there is a time crunch. Like the manager feels like, okay, the units might not reach there in time. So, sir, how would such a person combat that situation, sir? Or what strategy would you implement when you face a situation like that?
When you know that all of them are not going to align at the
Yeah,
final
they might not align together. Like they're developing around the product.
Yeah.
So that like all the teams are developing around the product.
Yeah.
Like all of them have to contribute at the same time.
So normally that's a very good question. Normally there are three things. I don't know why everything has three things, but there are three things here that contribute towards the performance of a team or an individual. And one is the motivation, one is the opportunity, and one is the skill to do it. Motivation, opportunity, and skill. Now, if you know that it is a skill problem, you will know the symptoms earlier itself if you're closely monitoring them. That this team is continually, not continuously, continually, they'll manage, then they'll again drop. They'll manage and again drop. They're continually having a problem. So you can correct it by advancing the skill, investing in skill development, or getting a skilled person into the team or making something. That is one way. If the problem is opportunity, that they can do well, but they can do well only when the first team gives them the data. They gives them the data. They are dependent on that data. So they are now getting stuck because the first team is faltering. So again, when you do your project dependencies and you do your time charts, you will see that the 4 days required for team B to do the job, they're doing in 4 days. But they're always delayed because they are getting the work from the other person only on the third day. So what do? There you tighten the first team and you ensure that something happens in between where the 4 days can now be made 3 days. Add one more person, increase a resource or increase the skills for them or the capital for them. You cannot punish them because they are dependent on someone. If the problem is attitude or motivation, that is where your tea, coffee, sitting together and having lunch. You know, some people say, I'm a pure vegetarian. I will not eat with these guys who are eating chicken biryani. You know, sometimes that becomes a challenge. I understand. If not for chicken biryani, at least for a coffee, you go in the evening when you sit together, that banter gets you understand where is the motivation problem, who has a challenge. And there you try to talk to that person, or if you cannot talk, get someone else to talk. Remember, the manager is not the broker of solutions. He is the broker of possibilities. You don't have to solve every problem. You have to get someone to solve the problem by providing the possibility and saying, that guy will help you. This guy will help you. But I am the broker of possibilities. So when you handle that, that will be there. At the same time, when I know that after putting all these, still I know they are not going to align, I'll go to my boss and say, boss, I have a special situation right now. My team is learning. This is the first time they are doing it. They are not going to reach the deadline on time. I know I can give them a lot of things. I've given them a lot of things. They seem to be coming well. They are learning. They are encouraged. They are happy. Can you allow 2 days extra time? Because I want them to learn and not feel guilty that they did not hit there. Is it okay? We can give them 2 more days. And because the outcome is that they are so comfortable learning now that next time they will do it in time. But if I go to them and say, you guys did not achieve, next time they will not be motivated. So for that purpose, I will also go and have a conversation with my boss and plead with him for an extra time. Will I get shouted upon? Sometimes I will. I will take it. I will not pass it back to my people. I'll take it because I chose the team and it is I have to take that accountability. I will not push it down there. But anything good for them, their achievement. Anything bad has happened, my problem. Manager is like a good father and a good mother who takes the blame of all the team members and at the same time gives them the credit for all the work even that you have done. That understanding, the moment you get, you will grow as a leader. Otherwise, you'll be a manager for life, managing things. But thank you for that question.
Thank you so much, sir.
I like the questions.
So good morning.
Yes,
my name is Arpit.
Okay. After Arpit, Avinash Das can ask the question. Yes.
Fine, sir. Fine.
Sorry, I didn't see that. Good morning, sir. Thank you for this wonderful session. Like Srijit sir mentioned previously, it was really an example of how things are in real life and in real industries. I had a basic question, so I don't think this is like a good question or a very big question. I just had a simple thing to ask because it is quite common whenever we work in any kind of environment, be it a private organization or a public organization, we often see a lot of diversity because we live in a diverse country. We see a lot of diversity. And like one of the skills that you have mentioned is that is skill number 3, that is to connect, the ability to connect with people. Yes. So we even have a task in hand, and we also need to connect to diverse people or many people in an organization. Yes. So how do we particularly go through about that, sir? Like if we are not comfortable with the environment or with the people around, how do we continue with the project or the task in hand?
Good question, Arpit. Arpit, that answer to that will solve itself because each person has a different set of values, goals, and traits. And because of which you have different people that you'll identify with better than with others. Some people identify with each other based on food, drink, where you come from. You are a South Indian, I am a South Indian. Love for the same parota or the chutney or whatever will bring you together. Multiple reasons why people connect. But at the back end, the question is, are you genuine enough and you really want to? Are you just wanting to be an interesting person, or are you an interested manager? Sometimes we want to be an interesting manager where people observe and say, wow, 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 good job done. The question here, the answer to Arpit, your question is, are you interested truly in making that relationship? If that happens, genuinely, we will try to connect with them. They might not like it, but we might connect with them. We'll find commonalities, people whom we know commonly, who can connect us up with. That is one way of handling. The second way of handling is directly calling them and saying, hey, I have an intent of wanting to know more and wanting to spend more productive time with you. I did not have this time in the past. I'm sorry, I could not focus on the past. From now onwards, I would like to catch up with you. How do we think we can work together? Rather than you telling, from now onwards, every Friday, 3 to 4, we are going to meet. No. How do you think? You give the credit to the other person and say, what do you think is a good time that we can catch together? Would you like to meet in my office or would you like to meet in a coffee shop? Wonderful. So let us do that. So don't overdo it. In certain ways, you can connect. Now, the other part of it is each one of us has a bias unknown, unconscious bias right now. In fact, our company is right now making possibly the world's first unconscious bias, other than the implicit Harvard bias that we have, which is purely from an Indian work point of view. We are right now working with one university to getting that done. We were surprised that many people had biases which they themselves did not know. Bias sometimes will prevent us from connecting with people. So understand what could be possibly your bias. There is this new book that is in the market by the name Sway, SWAY. It is written by a lady. I forgot the name. I have ordered the book. It is on its way. I read a part of it. She is a doctorate holder from UK, from Trinity or so. That book, I'm sure you will be having in your library or you could buy. It speaks about the possible biases that we are unconscious to. And once those biases go, you find it is very easy to connect with people. It is like sometimes we have a bias against people who you know is a drunkard. And you might not like it because your uncle passed away because he drank too much and you are very sad and you don't like anyone who drinks anymore. That bias might be there influencing you at work. So understand yourself. That is the second topic. Third, and the most relevant one, is to find an executive coach who can help you. As a student, there are many coaching facilities that are available, which at a very low price or zero price, people are willing to talk to you. Like in my organization, I have a certain team who works with students and about to get a job because they don't have a salary and we don't charge them. But we give them a 15 to 20 minute coaching time to handle such kind of things and let them go. So there are organizations like that. If you're interested, you can let me know. You means anyone. But that is the third thing that you will do, which when you're in the job, ensure that you pay for your coaching. See, in India, we don't pay for coaches. In India, everyone gives gyan free. So we don't have this idea of paying for information. So identify a good coach. He could be in India, out of India. Good coaching will cost you anywhere from 3,000 to 20,000 rupees for an hour. It all depends upon on the kind of work that you do, etc. I'm not promoting my coaching business. Please don't think like that. That is not my idea. Identify coaches near you, next to you. In your teachers, you might be having some certified coaches, but go to only people who are verified and certified, who know their job. Some of your teachers might be there. So that is the third way that you would handle. But Arpit, if you have a specific reason why you feel you are unable to connect, I'll be happy if you can reach out to me. The other Arpit here on the call has my number, and I'll be more than happy to chat up on a 10-15 minute conversation with you, or for that matter, anyone. Thank you. Avinash?
Yes, definitely, sir. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Arpit. Avinash?
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Avinash this side. Yeah, I have one question, sir. You mentioned in the slide that we need to maintain a perfect life balance, work-life balance.
Yeah.
So, how we can manage if we are working in a target-oriented company, means tendering job or something like estimation job, where there are a number of projects coming in, and we have to submit it before the deadline or on a particular date, and our manager will be screaming that we have to submit it. So how to handle that pressure and at the same time going home before 6:30, like that? Means it may extend up to 11, 10:30, like that, 10:30 to 11, something like that. So how to manage in that situation, those situations? And it is not that it is for some few days, means for 10-15 days. It may continue for 6 months till you get a project, and the load gets transferred to other department, I mean project department, your contract department, all that. So, how to manage?
Arpit, if I were there, I would have given you a hug right now. Very, very professional hug. Don't worry. Arpit, what you have asked is possibly a question that 90%.
Avinash.
Sorry, Avinash, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was still with
It's
the
okay.
Arpit's name. Avinash, what you asked is a wonderful question, which most possibly 80-90% of your people want to ask. See, the word balance does not mean equal. Look at the volume of 1 kilo of metal versus the volume of 1 kilo of wool, cotton. Same weight, but one is huge, one is small. Yeah. Likewise, when you look at your work-life balance across your career, your size of either life and work and the time that you spend or the investment that you do will keep on changing, big and low, big and slow, every day, every week, every year, every phase of your life. They'll keep on changing. The idea is not to ignore the other one for one. That is the idea. Now, if continually you are having a pressure because of which you are unable to contribute to your family because of the work, either you should look and say, are my skills in the right place? Am I struggling because I'm unskilled or underskilled? Improve your skills. Second, is my motivation to do that still there? Because I'm looking for a promotion, etc. If that is the case, you can always tell your family, wife, husband, father, mother, let's see, next 1 year, I want an exception in my career. This project that has come is an excellent project which puts me at a beautiful place in the next year. But this year, the collateral damage is I'm going to spend a little bit of time like this. Is it okay with you? How can I balance it by doing something else? So by doing that, you are still maintaining the balance. It doesn't mean 50-50% time. It means 50-50% equity. I respect my family as much as I respect my work. But if the work is so tiring and it is really putting that up, my suggestion, quit your work. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. It is not worth losing something that is more close and important to you because of the fact that an opportunity at your career is going to go down. Many people don't take that decision because they're afraid that they might not get a better opportunity later. Do you rather want to go back to a home where your husband, wife, father, mother, children look forward to you coming, or do they scamper the moment you open the door to multiple places? Dad has come. Why? You're coming back as a grizzly bear. After all the stuff that you faced at work, you come back and you're upset and say, chai? Ye chai hai? And you throw the chai there. Ye roti mein namak kyun nahi hai? Usme ye, all those questions you ask, if that is happening, it is not worth it. I am also a family counselor, Avinash. I have forced, to a certain extent, I'm using the word forced, many people to reconsider their options. And I know people who have left 70 lakh per year jobs just to ensure that their family balance becomes better. And they have found other jobs later at 55 lakhs, 60 lakhs. They are happier now at 55 than they were at 75. It doesn't matter where your job takes you, but it matters where your family takes you. So keep that in your mind. That's your purpose in life.
Another one thing, sir. Suppose you are joining a different company. Means, suppose
Avinash,
you are changing from one genre to another. Suppose you are in a core field. Okay.
Avinash, I lost your question. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, I am repeating, sir. So suppose you are working in a core field and finding a good opportunity in a private sector or a software field. Then, if you are joining it there as a manager and not getting that much attention initially from your peers and colleagues, so how to bridge that gap between you and your colleagues? Means they will be means first of all they will be thinking that someone from one of us should become a manager. Why they are hiring a new person? This happens generally in some few of the companies. So how to deal with that? I mean, how to bridge that gap and work with them satisfactorily?
Yeah, there are very simple ways. The first thing to do is to be genuine and understand that your purpose of your designation should never impact you at your life. In your first 2-3 career jobs, your designations are going to be very important. You're going to say, what is my designation? Manager projects. Oh. Then you'll think, what is my MBA colleagues designation? Vice President credit cards. Arre, That guy drunkard who never used to study and copy my notes is now vice president. I'm only manager. That will always in your life happen. Remember that designations will cease to matter after 10 years of your career, or maybe 15 years. But those 15 years, you'll be comparing manager. And never think that a designation makes you give a role. I can have a team who is very disgruntled that one of them should have been promoted a manager and I have been made a manager. Your job is to ensure that you build trust with them. Show how genuine you are and how competent you are that you can fit that job. So you strive hard to show the competence and the commitment for the job, that you are standing there behind them, that you are there with them. It might take 5 years, it might take 4 years, but you show that. That's the only way to do it. Otherwise, I can always vilify them as a manager, give them negative rating and throw them out and bring my team in. That you can always do. But if you do that, I can tell you, you will grow very well for 10 years of your career. And while you are 35, 37, 40, you will wonder what happened to you. I know rockets like that who have gone like that in the beginning of the career. By 30, senior vice president, executive vice president, global operations. By 37, once divorced. By 40, twice divorced. By 42, suicide. I'm taking an extreme graphic picture, don't worry. I'm not saying that will happen. But that happens because you were not able to balance what you are contributing versus the role expectation from you. So you develop your team, show the genuinity and the competence that you have, always build your skills, sometimes agree that you are better than me, your team members, and that over a period of time will give you that credit and they will stand for you. People don't leave companies, they leave managers, right? So your job is to ensure that you draw the best out of them, provide them opportunities. In my life, in my 26 years of consulting life, corporate and consulting life, I've had only 2 people who have left me in my entire career, only 2. And both of them left because of marrying out of the country. They married and one was going to Canada and one to Europe. So they had to leave the job and go. I had never lost a single person all throughout in my career. And I consider that to be, maybe a little proudly, consider that to be something that I learned from my managers. Because I had the best managers who would challenge me and throw me and kick me and push me around. I knew certain times that I was better than them, but still I respected them because they stood for me when there was a trouble. And that is what you should show as a leader, to stand up. You know, as Marcus Aurelius said, stand up and not to be held straight by designations and by other things. And later, after some time in life, you'll feel happy. People in the banking sector will immediately get the designation of vice president, because assistant manager in corporate is vice president in AVP in banking. You know that, right? And you say, oh, you can start your own company and call yourself intergalactic warlord of the universe. You can give yourself a big title if you're really interested. I'm seriously, intergalactic vice president of cleaning waste paper baskets. Give a title to your housekeeping guy. He'll be very happy. Designations don't matter. No one matters. After some time, work output becomes important. And that's what I have learned from my life, from some of the best people that I have interacted with. I've been humbled by people who have left 2 crore, 3 crore package jobs to take up jobs where not even a monthly income comes. So you understand that it is all about the fulfillment you bring at work and the genuinity you place at work.
So that was a fantastic session that you gave us. I would like to call Ms. Revati and George to give you a thank you note. Over to you, Revati.
Hi, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Respected faculties, our chief guests, and my dear friends, I, on behalf of our entire SOMS community, express my sincere thanks to our chief guest who gave his vital time from his busy schedule to grace this meeting. Sir, you have gave us a new perspective towards a lot of things, especially accountability, excellence, and collaboration. It's actually very necessary. You know, even though we have the textbook knowledge, like we learn all these things in our textbooks, it's so amazing to see and hear it from a real life experience. Thank you so much for your time, sir. Then I would like to thank the volunteers who have been working hard to conduct this meeting. Finally, I thank the wonderful students who have turned up for such a great numbers. Thank you all. Thank you for the cooperation.
Thank you, Revati. Dr. Shafi, thank you for the comment.
Then
Yeah, I think. Sir, Shafi sir, do you have something to say?
Nothing, sir. It was very enlightening for all of us. I was trying not to conclude the session, and I was very amazed to see you here, and I will definitely will be in touch with you once again.
Thank you,
And
sir.
Sure. Okay, and personally, I would like to thank everyone for extending their time till 12:30 to be in the session, and I hope it was a wonderful time we had with you, Vijay sir, and everyone would have got to take a point from the session, and I hope we practice all these things in our work life when we get into that, and we start practicing from now on. So I think that'll be the end of the session officially. So you can start leaving. And yes, thank you all for joining again.
Thank you very much. Once again, thanks a lot to all of you. And remember this, always do what is right, not what is necessary. Do what is right, and you will have a longer, credible career ahead of you. Thank you, and God bless. Have a wonderful time. Bye-bye.